Hello, book friends. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Let's talk books with Shannon. Hope you're having a wonderful holiday season. We're getting towards the end of it, which means that it is time for my top 24 books of 2024. I'm very excited because I just started my channel in late September, so I have never done this before. So I'm very excited. I read over 140 books and I've narrowed it down to what I think is my top 24. I've switched it out several times, but this is what we ended up with. So I'm not going to talk real long about each book because otherwise we'll be here for over an hour, but by all means, if we have similar tastes, hit subscribe, hit like, leave me comments. I love hearing about your favorite books, and we'll get started. Okay, coming in at number 24, we have Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. I just recently finished this book. I really enjoyed it, and I think perhaps it comes from the fact that I was a special ed teacher for 31 years. But this book, both main characters have a disability, and I thought the disability was handled beautifully. And I absolutely loved the Bo, the main male character, and he has a prosthetic leg from had it removed due to cancer. So it was just handled beautifully, and I love both characters. And it's a pregnancy trope, which I know a lot of people are not fond of, unexpected pregnancy trope, but handled really well. Came in at number 24. Coming in at number 23, The Final Offer by Lauren Asher. I have started reading Lauren Asher just this year, and I have really enjoyed her books. This one is in the middle. It's the last one? Last one in the Dreamland Billionaire series. This one we follow Callahan and Alana. And this one, in all of these books, the main male character's grandfather has died, and they cannot get their inheritance until they have finished or completed a specific task. And in this one, Callahan has to go back and live at the family home. And when he gets there, he realizes that the woman he used to love not only lives there but claims to own the place. So, and it also deals with he is a high-functioning alcoholic. And I thought, you don't find many books that deal with the main male character being an alcoholic. At least I haven't run into that. And I really thought it was handled well, and I really liked this one. Came in at number 23. Okay, number 22. Taylor Jenkins Reid, Carrie Soto is back. This one follows Carrie, who is a professional tennis player, or was retired professional tennis player, and she makes a comeback with her dad as her coach. And she's just fierce. I just really liked Carrie, and I love Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing. So this one came in at number 22 for me. Number 21. I just finished number 21. Emily Henry's Funny Story. I love Emily Henry's writing. I've read a lot of her this year. I didn't get to this one till fairly recently, but I did love it. We have Daphne and Miles. Loved Miles in this book. Very laid back, very fun. They both, Daphne's engaged and Miles has a girlfriend, and both of their girlfriend and boyfriends end up getting together, so that leaves Miles and Daphne alone, stranded, and they end up moving in together and being roommates, and it is delightful. And she's a librarian, and I love that. So, but Miles was hysterical in this, very fun, and came in at number 21. Okay, at number 20, we have Elsie Silver, Off to the Races. First of all, I love these covers of this series. This is the Gold Rush Ranch series, and I love these covers. They're all beautiful. But anyway, this one, this was her first series before Chestnut Springs. I love the Chestnut Springs series. You'll find a couple more books in that, a little higher up in my list. But this one, all of these books have horses in them, and I have a little bit of a fascination with horses. I find them incredible, and just incredible creatures. So this one follows Billy and Vaughn. Billy comes to work for Vaughn at the ranch, and they immediately don't get along at all. So it's kind of an enemies to lovers trope. And like I said, the horses are amazing in this, and they take on characteristics and traits of their own. So anyway, so Off to the Races came in at number 20. And following that, another one in that series of 4 made it into my top 24, and that was A Photo Finish, also by Elsie Silver. Again, pretty covers. This one followed Violet. Violet is one of the sisters in the Chestnut Springs series, So this book is actually her story of Cole is her husband. So Violet and Cole. And also cowboy, ranch, small town trope. Another new horse in this one that you'll fall in love with. So anyway, highly recommend this series. And this one came in at number 19. Okay, coming in at number 18, Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carlino. I hadn't heard a lot about this book. It's probably because it's a few years older, but I picked it up and really, really enjoyed it unexpectedly. I thought this book was great. I was just surprised I hadn't heard about it on Booktube, but I've only been on Booktube for the last year or so. But this one, we're following Matt and Grace, and in college they were roommates and just really tight and really, really close. And you get to experience a lot of what they went through when they were in college and how close they became. And then after college, they kind of separate and go their separate ways. And one of them sees the other on a train years and years later. And so they reconnect, and their story goes from there. But it was very, very good. And I picked up another one of Renee Carlino's books because I like this one so much that I'm going to read hopefully at the start of the year. Okay, number 17 was Beach Read by Emily Henry. Really like this book. And this one, most of you probably know. I don't know, a lot of you may know. Some of you may not have read it. But this one follows Gus and January. They're both writers. And they do not get along at first. And they end up spending the summer next door neighbors. And decide to try to write in each other's genre. And it is an emotional read too, very heartwarming, very touching, and very well-paced, quick read. And I really enjoyed this one. Number 17. Okay, Happy Ever After playlist by Abby Jimenez comes in at number 16. And you'll find it. Abby Jimenez was my favorite new author of the year. I had not read her prior to this year, and I think a few of her books are in my top 24. But this one follows Sloan and Jason. Jason is a music star on the road a lot, and Sloan is just off of a bad breakup, and she finds Tucker, who is Jason's dog, running around free. And she tries to reach out to him and say, hey, I have your dog, et cetera, and he doesn't get back to her because he's so busy and on the road. And when he finally gets back to her, she's like, I'm not giving you this dog back. You don't even care enough to respond. But anyway, so they end up, going from there. And it's a delightful story. Abby Jimenez, if you haven't read her, is just her writing is wonderful. So this book came in at number 16. Okay, coming in at number 15, we have All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. This was my first read by Mariana Zapata, and I really, really liked it. Total slow burn, and I understand from other booktubers that all of her books are a slow burn, and so I'm pretty sure I will love them all, so I'm going to continue to read her backlist. But this one was delightful, and I love the environment in this one because it takes place in the Colorado mountains, and there's a lot of hiking and wilderness scenes, and I am a hiker, and I just absolutely loved that of it. So this one, we're following Aurora and Tobias, and Tobias is grumpy, so this is a Grumpy Sunshine book. But his son has inadvertently, unbeknownst to him, rented out one of their rooms to Aurora, who is coming back to kind of relive some of the hikes that her mom did when she was living, since she has passed. So so it's a great read, how they get to know each other. And again, if you are a nature person, then I think you'd also love this romance. That one is number 15. Number 14, Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher. Again, this is the second book in the Dreamland Billionaire series by her. Two of the four books made it into my top 24. This one follows Declan, and again, the grandfather has died and specified that they have to complete certain tasks in order to get their inheritance. And the one he has to get married and have an heir. So before he can get his inheritance. So he ends up, it's kind of a fake dating at first. He ends up marrying his longtime secretary, Iris, and it is delightful. So very good book, and that one came in at number 14. Number 13 was Caught Up by Liz Tomforde. I loved this series. I think 3 of the 4 made it into my top 24, but really like this one because it follows baseball. I'm also a baseball fan. So this one follows Kai and Miller. Kai is a single dad and is looking for a nanny because he's fired so many of his nannies. And his coach tells his daughter, who is taking kind of a hiatus from her cooking job, she's a chef, and she's going to be the nanny of Kai's child for the summer. So that's how that one gets started. But really delightful, spicy series. So if you don't like spice, you might not like it, but really, really fun. That one came in at number 13. And at number 12 from the same series, Liz Tomforde, The Right Move. This one follows Ryan Shea. Ryan Shea, oh my gosh. That's why this book made it in, is because Ryan Shea, he was a basketball player. So Ryan is a twin, and from the first book, and his twin sister's best friend ends up moving in with him, so they're roommates. And he has kind of always avoided the limelight, and she has just off a breakup. So it's just, you just really get attached to these characters. And so that one came in at number 12. Number 11, Chestnut Springs. Number 11 was Flawless by Elsie Silver. I have 2 in my top 24 from this series. I love cowboy series. I don't know why. I'm not a cowgirl, but I love a good cowboy series. And in this one, we have Rhett and Summer. Rhett is a bull rider, and he has a bad reputation and has not been favored in the public eye. So Summer is his agent's or his manager's daughter, who is hired to babysit and clean up his public image. So very good, very fun. The found family in the Chestnut Springs series is amazing. You're going to love all the characters. So highly recommend this series. Start at the beginning if you're going to read it, I think. That one came in at number 11. Okay, coming in at number 10. We're down to the top 10. The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. This was my first book by Alex Michaelides, and I was very impressed. It was my favorite thriller of the year. I don't read a ton of thrillers, but I don't know, I probably read 7 or 8 this year. This is the only one that made it into my top 24. Gave this one 5 stars. Absolutely loved it. And this one will following an artist who in the very beginning of the story shoots her husband in the face many times. And of course she's institutionalized, and the rest of the story, there's a psychologist or psychiatrist, psychotherapist who wants to get to know her story. And of course, after the shooting and she's institutionalized, she doesn't speak a word to anyone. So he comes and works at the place where she is institutionalized in trying to get her to speak and trying to get her story. And it is an epic ending. I didn't see that one coming at all. Absolutely love this one. And this one was number 10. Coming in at number 9, we have Reckless by Elsie Silver. This was my favorite of the Chestnut Springs series, and this one follows Theo and Winter. Theo is also a bull rider, and this one is an unexpected pregnancy trope. They have a one-night fling, what they think is going to be a one-night fling, and she ends up getting pregnant, and he doesn't find out about it until much later. And so it's, but it's done really well, and I absolutely loved it. It was my favorite in the series. So that one came in at number 9. At number 8, we have another one of the Liz Tomforde series. I have 3 out of the 4 of those books in my top 24 books. So I of course, I love sports, so maybe that's why they're all sports romances. This one follows Isaiah and Kennedy. And Isaiah is also a baseball player. He's a shortstop for the professional team in Chicago. And Kennedy is a doctor, but the physical therapist through most of this book. And Isaiah has always had a thing for her, and she is recently out of a breakup, and there's all kinds of family issues, and they end up in a night in Vegas getting drunk and getting married, and the story goes from there. So it's wonderful, and I absolutely love this. This was a 5-star read for me. That came in at number 8. Number 7, another Abby Jimenez book, Just for the Summer. This one was delightful. This one follows Justin and Emma, and both of them have found that whoever they're dating after they're done dating them, they find their soulmate. So they decide to date each other in hopes that when they break up, then they'll find their soulmate. So it's delightful. And she actually is a traveling nurse, and she goes to his town to date him and for the summer. And he's just a golden retriever. He's a golden retriever. He sends her little surveys on where she wants to go before the date. And then he sends her little notes afterwards asking for feedback on how he did. It was so cute. So anyway, this one is delightful. It's not in a series, so you can just pick this one up, and it came in at number 7 for me. Number 6, another Emily Henry, Happy Place. This was my first year also reading Emily Henry, so I really enjoyed her writing. And this one actually, to me, is a romance, but it reads more like women's fiction to me, I thought, than it did romance. It's more about friendship than it is about the romance. Top 5, I read this one back in January. It's The Bodyguard by Catherine Senner, and almost a year ago, and I still think about this book. It made me laugh. I'm ready to do a reread in 2025. Of all the books that I read, 140 plus, this one made me laugh more than any other. I don't know why. Maybe it just was the timing and it hit me right, but it was funny. We're following Hannah and Jack. Hannah is the bodyguard in this one, and Jack is the superstar. And Jack has a stalker, and he needs a bodyguard. And he is going back home to see his mother, who's ailing and sick, and he doesn't want her to know that he has a stalker. So Hannah and Jack fake date. She's his bodyguard, but he wants her to pretend that she's his girlfriend for his family and his mom. And the book is just so funny. It's just delightful. I loved it. I'm ready to reread it. So that one came in at number 5. Number 4, another Abby Jimenez book. Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez was number 4 on my books, on my favorite books this year. I loved Brianna and Jacob. Just loved them. They were my favorite couple of the year together. Jacob has social anxiety, and Brianna handles this beautifully. He actually gets a promotion at the hospital that she wanted. So in the beginning, they're not friendly, but they start writing letters to one another to communicate because he struggles so much with his social anxiety, and thought that was wonderful. She has a brother that needs a kidney. So there is the whole family element. And I just loved it. I just love this book. This is going to be probably another reread for me in 2025. I feel like I need to read it again. So this one came in at number 4. Number 3. Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. I read this one back in January, and this one just really, really moved me. This one we're following Macy and Elliot, and they were childhood friends, like the best of friends. She used to see him every summer when she went up north, and they'd spend the summer together, and they both are book lovers. And then something happens, and they disconnect. So anyway, they have a disconnect, and they become strangers as adults. And they run into each other again, and the story goes from there. But it is delightful and moving and totally engaging, and I absolutely love this book. Number 2. I went back and forth on number 2 and 1 so many times, I cannot tell you. Number 2 for me, I ended on, actually, I'm going to hold 2 books up. 2 books because it's one story, but 2 books. Binding 13 and Keeping 13 by Chloe Walsh. These are the only 2 books I've read in the series so far. I'm going to get into Joey's story in 2025. But this one follows Johnny and Shannon. Shannon like the river. And she's bullied at her schools, and she's abused at home. She starts a new high school, and Johnny Kavanagh is a rugby player there. And they meet on her first day there because he accidentally kicks a ball and hits her in the face with it. But it's amazing. The way Johnny, throughout this story, protects her, respects her. It's just unending, his love for her. It is so wonderful to read. It was really, really beautiful. I would definitely check trigger warnings on this because there's lots of trauma in these books, but I really loved it and was very moved and very touched, and I'm excited to read about Joey, who is Shannon's brother. He also is been involved with drugs, so I think all the books are going to be check for triggers, but just Johnny and Shannon have my heart. I don't know what else to say. It's beautiful. So not my favorite couple, but Johnny is by all means my favorite book boyfriend of 2024. So these books came in at number 2. Might surprise a lot of you. You know how you have a book and it just hits you right. Maybe it's the timing, I don't know what, but this book I just connected with, and I'm ready to reread this one too. My number 1 book was The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. First of all, I love Taylor Jenkins Reid writing. Absolutely love it. I'm going to read more of her backlist. I did read, I didn't read Taylor Jones and the Six, but I did see the series. So, but I do want to read the book also, but I did read one of them. Oh, Carrie Soto's Back. But also, I read a couple others that didn't make it into my top 24, but I absolutely love her writing. And this one, we're following Evelyn, who is a superstar, and we follow her, a movie star, I should say, through starts in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, and the 7 husbands that she marries. And everything she goes through during that time frame in the industry. And I love this. She's a very complex character, and I love that about her. And there are times I didn't like Evelyn, and yet I always ended up rooting for her. Just really love this book. So anyway, so I am going to reread this one also in 2025. That's the plan anyway. I'm going to be doing some rereads. But love this book. I know it's not for everyone, so I don't know, but I absolutely loved it. If it sounds like if you like historical fiction and you like that whole movie star theme and you like complex characters, then I would say definitely pick it up. So anyway, so that was my number 1 book of the year. Very exciting. Friends, thank you for tuning in. Please hit subscribe. Please hit like. Leave me comments on your favorite books. I would love to hear them. I would love to get those books that you love on my TBR for 2025. So thank you again for tuning in. Please take care of each other as the year comes to a close. And Happy New Year and happy reading.